Alright, chat. Alright, boom, right back to it. Alright, YouTube, welcome. This is Noonie Flaco, and welcome to the flock. We basically, doing a reaction today. This is Unseen. I'm really not too familiar on him. I have reacted to one video, reacted and watched one video prior to Unseen, but I'm usually watching Dr. Insanity. I just started YouTube, so bear with me while we get the ball rolling, and hopefully y'all fly with the flock, then join the flock, So let's get to it. This video is called Killer Thinks He Got Away with Murder, Doesn't Know 6-year-old Survived. The Case of Brooke and Clarence. Cool. Not cool. No. It's cool as fuck that she survived. Like, let's talk about it. I knew it. Hold on, chat. Hold on, bitch. Get over. Hold on. It's that AI shit. Alright. I didn't know that. Hold on. Time out. See, I'm tweaking. Alright, let's get back. I knew somebody. I probably known him for a couple months. I don't know what happened to him though right now. I don't know if he got locked up or you going through some personal stuff. I think he got a new number. I got a new phone because I was going through some shit around that time that I met him. But cool dude, chill dude. Yeah. He my dad, and my OG is my dad, and my Unc Trap. He they know him forever, since jits, not jits, but outside era, when niggas was outside doing shit. Turns out he was, my people was just telling me he was basically, I ain't gonna say no names, he was basically a survivor from a serial killer. Basically, his mom was killed. The serial killer strangled him as a baby. He was a baby, probably a year, couple months, 10 months probably. But you don't never lose that feeling. It's if you ever almost die, you gonna always know that feeling, whether it come through anxiety or just what PTSD, whatever it is. You always gonna know that feeling. So yeah, they told me about that, and I said, "Damn, that's crazy." I looked it all up, watched a whole little 20-minute documentary, 30-minute documentary about it. And I said, "Damn, that's crazy." He was in it too, grown up. He was in it because they came back later on, because I guess they finally gave dude the needle, and because dude got the death penalty. Oh, yeah, it was crazy. But let's get to this video.
Who's that picture? Who's in that picture? A guy.
On June 7th, 1998, Brooke's young life takes a turn for the worse when an ordinary night at her grandmother's house turns into a living nightmare.
Okay. Can you tell us what happened that night?
I woke up in the middle of the night because I heard someone screaming.
Barely awake, the little girl rushes to help her grandmother, only to end up face to face with a killer.
I was scared because he was a guy and I was so little.
Okay.
He hit me with something or kicked me or something.
Heavily injured and traumatized, Brooke is then manipulated into accusing her own uncle of the attack.
I know this isn't coming from her. This child.
I'm confused. And I'm gonna say why I'm confused early. Me, I'm the type, if I'm in tune, intrigued, if I'm focused on something, I kind of want to know the, let's say, finished product early. Dude, alright, cool, video. I kind of want to know, in this video instance, manipulated. Why the fuck would I understand a 6-year-old would be scared to tell the truth, You say anything, I'm gonna do something to you. Like, I understand that, but was this a family member?
Child is like one of my own children.
Do you think today that Uncle Clarence was the same man you saw in the kitchen that night with your grandma?
No.
But it's a little late to reveal the truth. Brooke's uncle has already spent 3 years in prison at this point, and even if his wife...
Imagine spending time in prison for a fucking crime you didn't commit.
Melinda...
It was definitely a
can
family
prove he's
member.
innocent. The police refuse to listen to her.
Yes, I am his wife. And yes, I know that some women do stand up for their man and lie for them. But you're missing the biggest point here. That was my mother. And I want the person who did this to pay.
While Clarence sits behind bars, the real killer is still out there. To set things right, Brooke and Melinda will have to retrace what happened that night, build up their own investigation, and uncover the truth themselves.
What do you want to happen next?
I want my Uncle Clarence to get out of jail. And I want the man who killed my grandma to be punished.
June
Well,
7th,
don't we all?
1998. Brooke and her grandmother Judith are on their way home from a cousin's birthday party. Brooke is Judith's only granddaughter, so the 58-year-old is especially fond of her.
My name is Brooke Sutton. On June 7th, 1998, I was 6, and I just finished kindergarten. That night, I ended up staying the night at my grandma's house. My grandma Judy was like my best friend.
The pair has dinner, watches some cartoons, and soon enough, it's time for Brooke to go to bed. Judith gives her bedroom to her granddaughter. She will sleep on the living room couch.
I took a bath and I got dressed in her nightgown, and then she tucked me into bed, and then I went to sleep.
A few hours later, in the middle of the night, Brooke wakes up to the sound of screams. She follows them to the kitchen and walks straight into a scene she should have never witnessed.
So I ran back to my grandma's room because I was scared. He heard me run back to her room and hit me or knocked me out.
Someone has broken into the house and violently assaulted Judith. After knocking Judith unconscious, the man does the same to the 6-year-old. When Brooke regains consciousness, she doesn't understand what has happened. There's blood everywhere, and she
Heard me run back to her room and hit me or knocked me out.
Someone has broken into the house and violently assaulted Judith. After knocking Judith unconscious, the man does the same to the 6-year-old. When Brooke regains consciousness, she doesn't understand what has happened. There's blood everywhere, and she can only see out of one eye. She stumbles out of bed and returns to the living room, where she finds Judith lying face down. Brooke tries to wake her up, to no avail. She then starts...
I heard something, and over here it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm in Pacific time, so can't go for any of that.
looking for the phone to call for help. After what feels like forever, she finally finds it outside, discarded in the bushes. Panicked and disoriented, she can't remember the police's number. Instead, she leaves a voicemail at her friend's house, the only number she knows.
Hi, I'm not here right now. Leave a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Bye.
Dude, I'm sorry to tell you this, but my grandma died. I need somebody to get my mom for me. I'm all alone. Somebody kill my grandma. Oh, please, would you hold me as soon as you can? Bye.
Before we continue Brooke's story,
Time out. Who did she call?
face down, Brooke tries to wake her up, to no avail. She then starts looking for the phone to call for help. After what feels like forever, she finally finds it outside, discarded in the bushes. Panicked and disoriented, she can't remember the police's number. Instead, she leaves a voicemail at her friend's house, the only number she knows.
Hi, I'm not here right now. Just leave a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Bye.
Dude, I'm sorry to tell you this, but my grandma died. I need somebody to get my mom for me. I'm all alone. Somebody kill my grandma. Oh, please, would you hold me as soon as you can? Bye.
Before we continue Brooke's story, now back to Brooke's story. When Brooke puts the phone down, she notices it's covered in blood. Confused, she reaches for the side of her face and is shocked to realize she's bleeding. Panicked, the 6-year-old
yeah,
runs
she
down
got
the street
kicked,
to look
right?
for help until she reaches a neighbor's house. 25-year-old single mother of
punched or
3,
hit with something?
Tanya Brazil, answers the door. She recognizes the little girl immediately. Her own daughters are some of Brooke's best friends.
She was crying, like, I don't know, she just was a mess. She definitely looked like she was in pain.
You think they friends to this day? Because if I had children, now look, I don't got no children, but if I had children and something like that, like their quote unquote best friend showed up to the house at 6 years old, mind you, 6 years old. So the friends are probably like between they're probably known between 5 to 7, 5 to 8 probably. 5 and 8, 5 between 5 and 8 is the friend age group. Damn, I'm drunk, tipsy. Fuck. I hate when this happens, bro. I be getting drunk, or when I be smoking, where I be forgetting what I be thinking about, and it be some good dialogue too. Bruh, nigga, if you been around me off the drink or just high, you know I be forgetting, but I got good memory sober. But yeah, if these were my friend, if I had children and age group, boom, and this happened, I would try my best to make sure my kids always be nice. I mean, my kids, when I have kids, my kids is gonna be nice to people in general. I don't play that shit. Like, you won't be respectful unless you're disrespected. You feel me? But yeah, I would hope my kids would stay friends with this girl or dude the rest of that person's life, because that's a traumatic thing to go through, and especially at fuck, man, the beatbox, especially at a young age, that's definitely traumatic to go through.
My mom's like, oh yes, it was him.
I've been through some similar, not really similar, because I ain't gonna compare losing a life to what I've been through, but hold on, chat. These cats is fighting outside. Yeah, that's definitely something that's very traumatic to go through as a kid, and you don't really fully understand until you're grown. So, you know, I pray for her, because you know she's probably still alive to this day. You know, yeah, I'm fucking idiot sandwich, but yeah, that's still, I know she still thinks about that shit to this day.
Like, kind of like putting that in her mind that it was her uncle.
Brooks came to my door. She said, please help me. My grandma was dead. My uncle.
Her uncle? Didn't I say that? Yo, Chad, didn't I say he was in the family? Yo, the flock. Didn't I say he was in the family?
Clarence
I told
killed my
y'all.
grandma. My uncle Clarence killed my grandma. I don't have no reason to lie about it.
And Tanya's
I
behavior
fucking
with
said
Brooke
ya-
only
I
a stranger
said
from
that.
there. The 6-year-old
Before
is
they
clearly
even-
terrified. Yet Tanya refuses to call the police. She doesn't even tend to the child's injuries. Instead, she tells Brooke to wait outside while she gets her own children ready for school. And so, the little girl waits, alone, for nearly an hour. Eventually, Tanya drives her back to her mother's house, but when they arrive, the woman starts speaking on Brooke's behalf, and suddenly, the story of a traumatized child who only ever saw a shadow in the dark turns into a full-blown accusation.
The neighbor, she kind of told everybody that I told her that it was my uncle, and everyone was questioning me, and I guess I kind of was agreeing with it.
While this was happening, no investigator ever took the time to question any of Tanya's daughters about what they witnessed that morning.
I just feel like if someone would have came to us first, stuff would have been different with the Elkins case.
Minutes after Brooke arrives at the hospital, investigators burst into the intensive care unit. She tells them she can.
Yeah, see, I told y'all. Around 5 to 8, 4 to 8, around there is the friend group, because you're gonna have one of your friends is gonna have two siblings, multiple siblings, and you're gonna grow up around them, or one sibling that's older or younger, and you're just gonna grow up around them too, because you go to their house, you're gonna be around them, you gotta play with them too because they're parents, it's just that, so somebody knows something or knew something before, and I think it was Clarence because of the title. Now we know the case of Brooke and Clarence. Clarence was the uncle. Allegedly. They said Clarence is the uncle. Clarence is the uncle. I think Clarence did it. Obviously, Clarence did it. Brooke and Clarence. Uncle, I called this shit out in the beginning. Bow, nigga.
Didn't see who did it, but this isn't enough for them. They press her further, and in Brooke's young, exhausted mind, the only way to make them stop is seemingly to repeat what she heard from her neighbor. But even then, the 6-year-old is careful with her words. She doesn't outright say it was Clarence, but that the man might look like her uncle. But that's all the police need. Less than an hour after Brooke arrives at the hospital.
So the neighbors knew it. Probably the little girls. The little girls at the time probably knew, because they heard or peeped the weird shit. Because you can always peep a weirdo. If you're semi-normal, not... I forgot what I was saying, YouTube, but...
Officers raid her uncle's house.
And I remember Clarence going out the back door, and I seen him cross the window, and he kind of had his hands up like what's going on?
They were telling me to put my hands in the air and turn around.
I'm fucking retarded. This is Clarence from the beginning. I don't know if it's the beatbox or what, but that's okay. Maybe I was wrong and Clarence didn't do the shit. Nah, I think you fucking might have did it. You still might have did it. You got that weird little comb over. Look, chat. You see this right here? Untrustworthy art. Untrustworthy. Because, truth be told, this side don't look like it come up as far as this side.
Walk slowly backwards.
Clarence, shocked and confused, doesn't carry out the order, and things quickly escalate.
And then I seen 2 or 3 police officers running down the hill of our backyard in helmets and vests and guns. And of course,
This must have been his arrest, because Brooke kept on telling detectives and probably the hospital that her uncle did it, because that's what she probably heard when she ran to the neighbor's house. Yeah. Okay.
What the heck is going on here?
Melinda runs outside, but the police intercept her before she can reach
Alright, my fault, chat. It's because I'm low-key drinking beatbox, and I'm tipsy. I've been up for a while trying to figure out this streaming shit. I'm new to it. YouTube, all that shit. I've been trying to figure out all this shit. But we're going to get it working. Alright, let's go.
Parents. They inform her that he's under arrest for the murder of Judith Johnson, Melinda's own mother.
I screamed.
His sister?
I just couldn't believe what they were telling me. My uncle was on the phone, and he said, yes, she's dead. And Brooke is saying that it was Clarence.
And so I went to the police station. They tried to put words in my mouth saying why I did this and why I done that. And I just could not answer one question they had.
The police.
They will do that. You just got to stay firm. And I feel like he incriminated himself way further than, oh, we had an argument, that's cool, I feel like even when you say you have an argument, that incriminates you. But also, it's like, it really don't, because that's your sister. I mean, I don't think he did it. This was like 1998, right? Around there. Around like 1990s, around there. So, I think Clarence gets out and somebody else gets locked up for this shit because, yeah, I think somebody else gets locked up for this shit.
Police and ransack Melinda and Clarence's home. They're looking for evidence, but leave empty-handed. In the days following the arrest, they never interview anyone except Brooke and totally dismiss Melinda, assuming that whatever Clarence might have done, she had to be in on it.
Clarence was at home with me and our sons at the time of the murder. Not even one time did I ever feel that Clarence could have done it. And I said to them, yes, I am his wife. And yes, I know that some women do stand up for their man and lie for them.
That is
You're
true.
missing the biggest point here. That was my mother.
That is true.
And I want...
There are some ride or dies. I'm not gonna lie. There are some ride or die females that will do it. Some won't. Some will. Some will.
the person who did this to pay.
Following the botched investigation, authorities quickly brought Clarence before a judge.
During Clarence's arraignment, they brought him in handcuffs and leg shackles. He was formally charged with aggravated murder for the murder of my mother. 3 counts of 1 count against my mother, 2 counts against my niece. Aggravated assault for the brutal attack on my niece. He was going...
You charge anybody with rape, you gotta have forensic evidence, cause I'm not gonna lie, rape is a fat accusation, and rape is not something you want to get accused of. I definitely don't even play like that, you know, just being a brother and being a brother man, and you know, just hearing stories, you know, from family members and you know, just old heads, you know, growing up around the old heads. Yeah, nah, we don't play with accusations like that. So they might have had some forensic evidence on Buddy with that.
to be facing the death penalty.
The proceedings would last 11 months. In that time, Melinda would lose everything: her job, her house, but worst of all, her family. Even her young sons, Clarence Jr. and Brandon, notice it.
At the funeral home, I remember walking in and it was just my brother, myself, and my mom, you know. And we were just alone. Everybody was staring at us. The tension, you could cut it with a knife.
This isn't the first time Melinda has felt estranged from her own family. Years ago, her mother revealed a secret that completely shifted their perspective towards her.
My mom took me for a car ride and just stopped and proceeded to tell me that even though she loved me, she was not my real mom, and that I had come from a clinic in Georgia.
Not just any clinic. It was run by infamous baby smuggler Dr. Thomas Hicks. He would tell mothers that their baby died during delivery, when in reality, the child had already been sold to someone else without the mother's knowledge. Melinda was one of these babies, and Judith adopted her, unaware of what was really going on. Years later, when the truth finally resurfaced, the two went on a mission to find Melinda's biological parents, even appearing together on The Maury Show mere weeks before Judith's murder.
Give us a picture of exactly what happened.
Imagine it was the dad, like her biological... No, I'm drunk. I'm not going to keep on saying it because, boy, I'm tipsy, but you already know what I'm drinking. That's what it is. But, never mind. Rest in peace.
So you went down to this
or is
clinic
it Jerry
in Georgia.
Springer that?
Yes. And what happened?
Rest in peace, both of them. I think both of them gone.
I'm
not sure.
We paid,
Correct me
like
if
I
I'm
said,
wrong. Sorry if I'm wrong.
$1,000
But rest in peace
for
to
the
one of them.
mother's
I'm sorry.
key. That's what, we were told. So then they wrote out the birth certificate. They did not write it out in the mother's name. They wrote it out in my name.
If anything, the truth about Melinda's past only strengthens her resolve. Judith may not have been her biological mother, but she was her mother in every way that mattered, and Melinda is determined to get justice for her, even if it means turning against her own family.
My mother was buried on June 12th. I remember sitting at her graveside
Adopted.
with my
Okay.
sons and making that vow to her that I would find out who did it. If it took me the rest of my life, I was going to find out
Okay, that makes
who
sense.
did that to her. And I didn't take that vow lightly. I meant what I said.
Justice for Judith is Melinda's ultimate goal, and to get there, she'll first need to prove her husband's innocence and uncover what really happened to Brooke that night. But at this point, putting her faith in the system feels like her only option, although it's a decision she...
So Clarence wasn't the blood. He was the in-law, the brother-in-law, the son-in-law to Judith. The son-in-law to Judith. Alright, see. Maybe a little bit tipsy, but I'm remembering. If they didn't already say it, I'm remembering. But, okay, that makes sense now. Okay.
quickly comes to regret.
We hired what we thought were, good attorneys. The trial was a joke. There was no DNA testing done. There's no forensic evidence that
It's just like the first on-scene video I watched. The first on-scene video was the dispatch not relaying a phone call, which led to, call it what you want, it led to the girl's death. In my opinion, it led to the girl's death. This man's been locked up for 3 years, and we're claiming I killed my mother-in-law. There was no forensic evidence done. We're claiming that I killed and raped my mother-in-law, and there's no forensic evidence to prove such things. On the grape especially, something's off.
links him to this crime.
The attorneys have kept Melinda in the dark. By the time she realizes how unprepared they really are, it's too late. The prosecution is calling Brooke to the stand.
They asked me to point out the killer, and I turned around and I pointed at my Uncle Clarence. It wasn't really me saying it. It was just everybody assuming it.
Clarence
She did that at 6 years old. If I'm Clarence, I wouldn't blame Brooke.
is powerless. He can only look up at his niece in disbelief.
Only thing I could think of was mistaken identity or persuaded by someone or coached. I know this isn't coming from her. This child is like one of my own children.
The jury hears Brooke's desperate call for help, recorded on her friend's answering machine, and sees the horrific pictures of the aftermath of the attack. The final blow comes from a familiar face, Judith's not-so-helpful neighbor, Tanya Brazil.
She became, Tanya Brazil, the woman 2 doors down, the key witness against Clarence Elkins in addition to the little girl, because her testimony at trial was, when the little girl knocked at my door, she was screaming over and over again, it was my Uncle Clarence, it was my Uncle Clarence, I'm positive it's my Uncle Clarence. And so you actually had an adult sort of corroborating and backing up this weak testimony from the 6-year-old girl.
I just kept going back to that, and I kept, why would somebody do that? What would be the reason? Is there something they're trying to hide?
After deliberation, the jury returns with a verdict. Clarence is acquitted of aggravated murder and cleared of the death penalty. Heavy sighs of relief resonate from Melinda and their sons. But the judge isn't done yet. For the remaining charges, and murder of Judith, plus 2 counts of assault involving Brooke, Clarence is found guilty. Melinda breaks down crying as he's sentenced to 2 life sentences without parole.
And it was the most...
So what I'm hearing is... he got 2 life sentences without the forensic evidence being tested, and the word of a 6-year-old. 1990s for you boys.
Excruciating feeling when he looked at me and I looked at him and he put his head down on the table. I thought I was gonna die. I couldn't believe it. And they stood him up and they removed him from the courtroom, and I told him that I loved him, and he looked back at me and he said, "I love you." And I
He
think
didn't
there
have
was
an
a
alibi?
picture of that, what I was feeling, because I just couldn't believe it. Absolutely couldn't believe it.
Clarence is sent to one of Ohio's most notorious maximum security prisons. Melinda knows her husband is innocent, but nobody's listening. It becomes increasingly clear to her that if she wants the case solved, she'll have to take matters into her own hands.
After that, my whole thought process changed. I no longer trusted the justice system. I no longer trusted the police. And I said to myself, I am going to figure this out. I had to figure this out. I had no experience investigating a homicide, obviously, but anyone could have done a lot better than what Barberton Police Department did.
Melinda starts watching true crime shows and learns more about forensic science and how DNA can help pinpoint a suspect. For the first time, she sees a path forward. Using her local library and the early internet, she begins building a list of potential suspects in the area who have committed crimes similar to the attack on Judith. The list quickly grows past 100 names, and one by one, she sets out to collect each of these suspects' DNA, no matter how.
I would show up where they were frequenting and...
Wait. Let's rewind that.
Justice system. I no longer trusted the police, and I said to myself, I am going to figure this out. I had to figure this out.
As you should.
I had no experience investigating a homicide, obviously, but anyone could have done a lot better than what Barberton Police Department did.
Melinda starts.
What the girls used to? What the girls be saying?
Watching true crime shows and learns more about forensic science and how DNA can help pinpoint a suspect. For the first time, she sees a path forward. Using her local library and the early internet, she begins building a list of potential suspects in the area who have committed crimes similar to the attack on Judith. The list quickly grows past 100 names, and one by one, she sets out to collect each of these suspects' DNA, no matter how.
I would show up where they were frequenting.
She could be a PI, private investigator. Dexter Morgan?
And strike up a conversation. I would flirt, talk, seem interested in them, just so that I could gather their DNA. I had cigarette butts, I had hair, I had beer bottle. Ultimately, my freezer looked like a laboratory.
Now, for over 3 years, Melinda has lived a double life.
So, I'm sorry for pausing so much, but so did she? I'm lost. Did she beatbox? Did they do a forensic DNA test? Did they not do the test? Or, 3 options here. Did they do the test and it came back a partial match?
By day, she worked 2 jobs to support her family. By night, she becomes an investigator, quietly collecting evidence. But her efforts don't go unnoticed. Barberton is small, and word travels fast. Before long, people start recognizing her. The closer she gets to the truth, the more noticeable she becomes. Eventually, the attention forces her to make a choice. For the safety of her sons, Melinda is forced to pause her investigation.
I was afraid that the person that had murdered my grandmother was going to catch on to what she was trying to do and hurt her as well. My brother and I, we always slept with knives under our pillows. We were, just in fear of somebody coming to harm.
No. She shouldn't have stopped her investigation. What them boys should have did, if you sleeping with knives under your pillow, you obviously got an understanding of life or death. You should have told your moms to keep on investigating. Keep on investigating. Somebody get in this crib, it's they ass. Obviously, if you're sleeping with a knife under your pillow, that, my opinion, that's what should have been said to your mama. Cause, yeah.
Harm us because we were trying to find them.
Not only is the investigation becoming dangerous, but it's also draining what little money Melinda has. In the early 2000s, a single DNA test could cost up to $800, and with nearly 100 samples on her list, she needs a different strategy. So, she goes back to the beginning. The facts are that only one person was actually there that night, Brooke, but meeting the now 10-year-old would also mean confronting someone Melinda has long avoided. She has not spoken to her sister, April, Brooke's mother, in almost 4 years.
After Clarence got convicted, we just tried to go on with our lives, but it was hard. My mom wasn't there. Brooke had nightmares, and I didn't talk to my sister anymore. I couldn't see my nephews. Just our entire family was ripped apart.
Melinda drives up to April's place in Barberton, but once at her door, she freezes. A rush of emotion hits her, but she knows she has to do this. Gathering up her courage, she knocks. April's husband opens the door. Melinda sees her sister at the other end of the room with her back turned. For a moment, she's convinced April won't even look at her. Melinda wants to leave. Just as she's about to step away, April turns around. She's crying. Slowly, she walks toward her sister, arms outstretched.
We hugged for like 10 minutes, I think. I never thought that my sister and I would ever talk again.
When we hugged, it was like all that pain had just, melted away. I knew that that was the moment that we could actually sit down and talk. It was a hard moment for Brooke because she didn't know how to react.
The reunion is emotional. Melinda, April, and Brooke have a lot of catching up to do, but Melinda remains focused. She needs to ask Brooke a few questions. She starts with the most important one. Is she still certain it was Uncle Clarence she saw that night? Without hesitation,
That's the biggest
the 10-year-old answers that she was never certain, shattering both women's entire understanding of the case. April is speechless. For the first time, she is forced to reconsider her daughter's testimony, and this is all Melinda needs to get started. She pulls an inch-thick folder from her bag and lays it out on April's kitchen table. In a single afternoon, she sums up 3.5 years of investigation to her sister. Gradually, April realizes she may have made a terrible mistake.
At first, I thought she was just insane, but then I stopped and I listened to her, and some things really made me think maybe we were wrong, because there really wasn't any physical evidence against Clarence.
A few weeks later,
No,
Brooke
there
decides
wasn't.
to recant her testimony. Now that she's a little older, she understands she had been influenced by the prosecutor, the police, and her neighbor at only 10 years old.
Not the neighbor. Those are just your friends and other adults that are not. So the neighbors, you can't really blame them. People are people. People are going to have rumors. People are going to have their own opinion. It's just like assholes. Everybody got one, but nobody think theirs stink. So, yeah, no. Once again, it's the fucking police.
She takes it upon herself to clear her uncle's name.
I ain't gonna lie, what I had going on, the police did their job. Thank God.
In the hopes that her recantation would allow him a second chance at a trial.
Why did you say it was Uncle Clarence?
Because it looked like him.
It looked like him. Do you think it was Uncle Clarence?
At first, yeah.
At first, yeah.
If that is the A mugshot from, hold on, let's go back, chat. Let's go back, Flock.
Takes it upon herself to clear her uncle's name in the hopes that her recantation would allow him a second chance at a trial.
Why did you say it was Uncle Clarence?
Because it looked like him.
It looked...
I can see where a 6-year-old gets the height mixed up. The hair, not too much. I shaved my beard to the goatee and just the mustache back in December. And when I first seen my niece, mind you, she's probably like, how old is she? I think she's like 1.5 years. It's the beatbox. But I think she's like 1.5 years. But she was looking at me like, when I shaved my shit, like, nigga, who the fuck is this? Get away from me, nigga. Don't hug me, don't kiss me, don't CC who? Nigga, who are you? So, prosecutors probably. No, prosecutors 75%, 25% neighbors and other parties.
Like him.
Yeah.
Do you think it was Uncle Clarence?
At first, yeah.
At first, yeah. But do you think so today?
No. The reason I'm here today is to support my Uncle Clarence and my grandma. I want everyone to understand that I was not told to say that it was someone else.
Another year passes, and in a cruel twist of fate, the prosecutor now claims the adults around Brooke have influenced her recantation. However, he never applied that same logic to her original testimony during the trial 5 years earlier.
The other side would contend that she's now being coached.
Oh, absolutely. It is outrageous what they have done to this child. Trust me, based on the evidence and based on everything I know, he did it.
A strange argument to make in a case without any physical evidence. The entire thing rested on a fragile testimony of an impressionable 6-year-old. But, by chance, that shaky foundation catches the attention of a nonprofit organization dedicated to defending the wrongly convicted.
I'm Mark Godsey. I'm a law professor here at the University of Cincinnati College of Law and director of the Ohio Innocence Project. Our mission is to look at old cases where the inmates have steadfastly maintained their innocence from the beginning to the end and see if there's some sort of evidence, new evidence, that might be able to shed light on it.
I was in my office when Melinda called the first time. She was calm and rational, and she knew the facts. She was immediately talking about DNA, so it was more like talking to a lawyer or an investigator.
Between 1998 and 2004, DNA testing had evolved from a technology in its infancy into a proper science. Godsey believes modern testing could yield usable results from the original swabs. He also agrees to test several of the samples Melinda has collected during her investigation. If they can produce a match, the prosecutor would be forced to grant Clarence a new trial. When the results come back, none of the samples link Clarence or any of Melinda's suspects to the crime. This is good news. It further confirms that Clarence had nothing to do with the attack, but it also means Melinda's entire investigation has led to nowhere. For years, she had tracked down dozens of potential suspects, sometimes putting her own life on the line, all for nothing, and her failure does not go unnoticed.
The driving force behind all this is Melinda Elkins, who just likes to be the center of attention.
The prosecutors, they were kind of validating their thoughts of me in the media. It's like, see, we told you, she's crazy.
But Melinda refuses to back down. With the help of Godsey and her sister April, she files a motion for a new trial. Citing Brooke's recantation and the DNA results, they argue that Clarence's conviction cannot stand when nothing ties him to the crime. Yet, to the surprise of everyone involved, the motion is denied.
I just couldn't believe this, that the DNA doesn't match Clarence. Then that means it had to have been someone else.
What more do they want? Do they want us to serve them who did this on a silver platter to them? Well, okay then, that's what we'll do.
By now, Clarence has spent nearly 7 years behind bars, and if the man who...
Chat. YouTube. The Flock. I need y'all to let me know, am I rocking? Like, that last 10 to 15 seconds, was I just rocking while I was just locked in watching the video? Is that what the beatbox had me doing? Because I feel my body rocking, but was I rocking actually?
Is truly as dangerous as Melinda believes, there's a real chance he has already been arrested for some other crime. If that's the case, Clarence might be closer to the truth than anyone else. From that point on...
Imagine Clarence was locked up with the real killer this whole time.
He becomes Melinda's inside man, quietly observing the inmates around him while she continues her investigation on the outside.
This is not about myself. It's for my mother-in-law and my niece.
He was the mother-in-law. I mean, that was the... He was the son-in-law.
And the person that committed this crime be held accountable.
As part of her new approach, Melinda starts looking for recent convictions that fit the profile she had established at the beginning of her investigation. One day, on the front page of a local paper, She reads about the arrest of another violent predator, but what throws her off is a name she recognizes at the bottom of the article, Tanya Brazil. Although Melinda hasn't seen that name in many years, she could never forget the woman who refused to help her injured niece after the attack and who had testified against her innocent husband back in 1999.
She was the person that my niece went to that morning for help and had always been a red flag for me because this particular woman did not call the police, did not call an ambulance for my niece, did not even let my niece in the house, but proceeded to leave her on the porch for 45 minutes before she put her in her car to take her to my sister's house.
The offender, named Earl Mann, happens to be Tanya Brazil's long-term boyfriend and was just found guilty of molesting their children, Selena, Tasha, and Misty. When Melinda starts digging deeper, she makes another discovery.
No way.
Earl Mann is a repeat offender who had been arrested at different points in time.
The neighbor, the little girl that watched her grandmama get killed or whatever and got kicked in the face, she ran to the neighbor's house. This is the neighbor's ex-boyfriend.
For breaking into houses and violently assaulting both women and children, the same kind of crimes committed the night Judith was murdered. On top of that, Earl Mann had been released from jail on June 5th, 1998, 2 days before the attack. He had been seen with Tanya later that same day, following Clarence's arrest.
Well, I don't care what they say. I know that I'm telling the truth, so I don't care what anybody thinks.
Lock her up. We don't trust her.
Brooks came to my door. She said, please help me. I was not protecting Earl. I don't have no reason to lie about it. God was there with me, and God knows that I did right.
In another strange set of coincidences, out of 33 prisons across Ohio and 21 pods split between 3 blocks at
He's in the same prison as Clarence.
Mansfield Correctional Facility, Earl Mann and Clarence had less than a 1% chance of being incarcerated together, and yet the two end up 3 cells apart.
Yeah, Earl Mann was a really bad person. And lo and behold, he was in the same block as I was. He had committed these terrible crimes against these children. He fit the profile. And now I started to wonder,
if you touch children, you gotta go.
Why is this guy following me?
If Earl Mann is the culprit, he would have certainly heard of Clarence's case, which has made headlines multiple times over the years. Melinda and her sons can't help but fear for him, just as they once feared for themselves.
I was nervous for my dad's sake. You know, I didn't know what Earl Mann knew that we did. I was concerned for my dad's safety.
And Clarence Jr. has every reason to be afraid. One afternoon, as the inmates are out in the yard, his father is cornered by Earl Mann and another prisoner.
We're sitting at a little table. Earl Mann started to make small talk with me. Man struck another inmate with a lock and a sock right in front of me. I couldn't believe what I seen.
In shock, Clarence immediately walks away and keeps his distance from Earl Mann after that. But Melinda makes him understand that there's no way around it. He's the only one with access to the suspect, and gathering a DNA sample from him is the only way they can ever prove his involvement. Earl Mann is a skinhead and keeps his head shaven, so Clarence's only option is to steal something from him. For months, he stalks him from afar, waiting for an opportunity.
Just one day in the summer of 2000.
These niggas are basically playing PI and private investigator. Clarence's wife is out collecting samples from bars and different places. This nigga in jail, Clarence, is trying to collect a sample from Earl Mann. I think that's how they saying it.
2005, I've seen Earl Mann putting a cigarette butt down on a makeshift ashtray.
I hope that's not
I got
his
some
last
clean
name.
tissue paper and picked the cigarette butt out of the makeshift ashtray.
Then he put that evidence into his Bible in order to flatten it and hide it so that he could send it out at some point for DNA testing.
What's even more amazing is that A couple of days after Earl Mann dropped his cigarette butt and Clarence Elkins picked it up, Earl Mann was transferred to another prison. So if Clarence had not been able to pick up that cigarette butt on that day, that would have been the end of it.
Clarence gets the sample to
What are the
Melinda,
odds?
who then sends it to the lab. Godsey makes sure the tests are run as soon as possible. 2 days later, the results are in.
And it came back and Earl Mann's DNA matched the DNA from the crime scene. I know of no other case where...
Lock him up! Lock him up! Let my nigga Clarence out the jail.
the wrongfully convicted person himself.
Get that nigga $1 million, cause y'all niggas had that nigga locked up for 3 to 4 years. Get that nigga some cheese too.
Is the one that participated as his own detective.
Even after everything Melinda and Clarence have uncovered, the judge rejects their motion yet again. Left with no choice, Godsey takes the case one step higher and presents their findings to Ohio's Attorney General. Now pressured by the state.
Mind you, the flock, mind you, they ran, I don't think they ran, or they did run forensic DNA, because they charged the uncle, the son-in-law of Judith, the one that passed away, the one that was murdered. They charged him with basically grape. They charged him with grape. So for the simple fact is, if Earl Mann's DNA connects to the grape kit, yeah, I locked my man's Clarence up for 3 to 4 years, 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years with no reasoning. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Clarence deserves some type of cheese.
The judge is forced to reconsider, and 2 months later, Melinda finally has good news for her husband.
Hey, Clarence, what are you doing, honey? You okay? You ready to come home? Then get your stuff packed, honey, because you're coming home today.
That was corny, but you get a tearjerker out of me.
Don't worry, I'll get
Look.
it.
Hey, Clarence.
Thank God. Thank God. I'm very proud
You gotta
of
think
everyone.
this 2005, like around there.
On my behalf for
I
justice.
What are you gonna do?
Early 2000s.
I don't.
but-
I
so
don't
all this
know.
shit is corny, probably. Does
One day at a time.
This 2000.
Slow and easy.
2026.
Putting
This
my
shit
life
is
back
probably
together
corny to us.
with my family.
The prosecution against Earl Mann lasts another 3 years. During that time, the trauma shared by Melinda, Clarence, and Brooke reaches its breaking point. The couple, finally reunited after 7 years, end up getting a divorce in 2006.
Do the what?
All the while, Brooke faces her own.
They don't tell us, but I kind of want to know. Is that a dickhead thing to say? I kind of want to know what why they got a divorce after so long. I kind of know. When you're charged with those type of crimes, Clarence, like for the Clarences, when you're, or the falsely accused Clarences, when you're charged with those type of crimes, it's like prison, not a place to be.
Own predicament. What began as chronic nightmares during childhood grew into complex
That's my own
PTSD during
assumptions
adolescence, and she
of what
struggles to
happened
let
to
go of the
Clarence.
guilt she still carries over what happened to Clarence. But as August 18th, 2008 approaches, one important moment lies ahead. For the first time, Melinda, Clarence, and Brooke will finally be able to address Earl Mann directly.
You destroyed my family. And today, you're not taking no more.
That man was locked up for 3.5 years.
Not so kind words.
Maybe more.
To forgive you is a difficult thing. I will over time.
Dante once spoke about hell as being frozen ice at its depths. Mr. Mann, I can only say I find that there seems to be a depth of depravity in you that is beyond understanding. I hate to say this of anyone, but you are not fit to be in society with the rest of us, and you will not be.
With the case finally closed, Melinda turns the page. She remarries and starts a new life.
Shout
10
out
years later, in an effort to
Slutty for
honor her
showing me
mother,
that
she
shit.
decides to reopen the investigation they had started together back in 1998 to reunite the stolen
shut
babies
that
of
nigga
Hicks
out
Clinic
when I do that
with their
shit.
biological mothers.
Melinda
Work
Dawson
sometimes
is
and all
considered the
times.
leader of the so-called Hicks babies. She's also the group's top sleuth, and for good reason. Melinda garnered international...
Leader is crazy. If let's call her a private fucking investigator like she did. She made her husband that was locked up in prison for the crime that he didn't commit get the DNA from the nigga that did commit the crime. If I'm not wrong, this sounds quite like the what's that shit called? When They See Us on Netflix. I think they still got it on there. It was a Netflix original. I don't see why they would delete it. Look it up on there. That shit right there. Tough. Back to this.
claim more than a decade ago, solving her adoptive mother's murder with DNA. Proof that also exonerated her former husband, Clarence Elkins. Once again, she's relying on DNA testing, but this time to steer her and other Hicks babies to their birth parents.
It was a brick wall. Nobody wanted to help us at all. But it's not the first time I've faced something like that, and I'm confident I'll eventually
Never give
solve
up.
that case too.
For Clarence, however, the story did not end there. Adjusting to his new life proved deeply challenging, and the trauma he
3 years is like 3 years in prison is like restarting your life. I mean, I never had to do crazy time. You know, I got locked up for some trespass and shit. That's the only time I was in a cell or quote unquote holding cell. I got locked up for some trespass and shit. But that was like a high school senior prank. So that shit ain't nothing. I wasn't even stressing that shit as much as from like OGs and like older heads and like, you know, people that I've like been around. After serving like more than like really, I want to say more than like 6 months, because you know you lose your job after 6 months. You know you can't. After 6 months you lose your job. You can't pay your car note, insurance, phone bill, rent if you got a crib. You know, all the essentials that you need to actually survive as a functioning human being. You lose all that shit. So I think after like me personally, like I say, I ain't never did no crazy time. Plus you it's hard to adjust back to life, but it's hard to adjust after like decades from like you went to jail with a flip phone. You come out, niggas got iPhones, and there's AI where you could do shit like this. Definitely harder when you go to prison for you know, that amount of time.
he carried with him made the transition even harder.
7 years in prison took a debilitating toll on Clarence Elkins. He was
I'm talking about, I thought he did 3.5 years for a crime that he didn't commit. But seven? Fuck no.
35 years old, a married father of 2 when he was wrongfully convicted in 1998 of raping his 6-year-old niece and raping and murdering his mom.
So they owed my boy some cheese.
Mother-in-law. He was confined to a maximum security prison.
It took time, but Clarence
And maximum security. Now back to what I said a few minutes ago. I don't know how long it was. Back to what I said. He definitely, that divorce that him and his wife, the PI, had, definitely happened because of the maximum security happened.
Eventually got better. He remarried in 2010 and remained.
Them crimes don't go. They don't. Me personally, I don't really know too much of politics from what I heard from the OGs and like, you know, 1090 Jake, shout out 1090 Jake, and you know, niggas like that, and you know, just research. They don't go too lightly on crimes against children and crimes against women. So I think his divorce, Clarence and Melinda, I think her name was, I think their divorce came from what happened with him. Or, I'm not going to put it past no female, just like a nigga, every female got to get their rocks off, just like a nigga do. So, could have been either or.
Remains close to Melinda and her family to this day. Yet, he never forgot Brooke. When he learned that she still felt responsible for what happened, he took it upon himself to show her she had nothing to be forgiven for.
He never blamed me. Clarence never blamed me. I really would blame myself if
You really can't blame a kid.
I were him, because I'd be angry if someone put me in prison for something that I didn't do.
She was the daughter that I didn't have. She was just a sweetheart of a child, and I've never had any resentment towards her.
In the end, Earl Mann was sentenced to 55 years to life for Judith's murder, but not everyone involved in the case was held accountable. His girlfriend, Tanya Brazil, who pushed Brooke to accuse her own uncle, never faced any consequences before her death in 2024. Clarence, however, was eventually able to hold the system accountable, settling with the state of Ohio and the Barberton police for over $6 million, even though no amount of money could ever make up for the years he lost.
It's very difficult, very sad at times. It's not like it used to be, but at the same time, I got to move on. And that's our goal, is to move on and try to rebuild our lives.
I'm not gonna lie. Me, I fuck with the rom-coms and, you know, like the murders, the unalivings, and, you know, shit like that. When the story comes deep like this one, I be a sucker for that shit, because it's like, could it have been avoided? Like, buddy got locked up for 7 years for a crime that he didn't commit. Think about that. A crime that you didn't commit, and you get locked up for 7 years. What would you do? What would you do? Some people, you know, build off that, you know, they change, like, not even change their life around because he didn't do nothing. Some people capitulate off that, and some people just let that shit bring them down to the lowest of lowest of lowest points. And it's like, I feel bad. I don't know the math. I'm tipsy off the beatbox. Roughly $1 million for every year that you spent in prison. If you know what to do with it, that's lovely. It's sad, but that's an unseen, you know, video. I'm not gonna lie, Flock. I'm low-key messing with the unseen. Like I say, I'm used to the Dr. Insanities and the other ones. I can't really remember what the other ones are, but Dr. Insanity is one of my favorite YouTubers that covers crime, body cam, true crime. But Unseen, I grew liking to him, so I'm definitely gonna subscribe to him. I think y'all should too. And you know, this, like I said, this Noonie Flocko and this Be Real. You already know I'm gonna end stream, and you know, until next YouTube video and next Twitch stream, don't forget to subscribe to the Twitch, follow on Instagram, follow on TikTok, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We about to turn this up.